Okay, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Football Friday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Banner's Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com, Restored Motions, RestoredMotions.com, and ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. All right, y'all. Happy Friday. We do have to wait till Sunday to see the Tigers play, but our football weekend, 5 straight days of football underway. A good start yesterday with some nice appetizers. Candidly, if you were watching the Florida-Utah or Minnesota-Nebraska games, those were just very poorly played games. I am very much looking for. Look, week 0 was a great appetizer. It was so nice to get to watch football on Thursday night. But I'm really ready for like the good football. And unfortunately, I don't know that there's a ton in week 1. Just because shame on college football. The week 1 slate is atrocious this year. But we're still going to get to watch some games this weekend, a lot of games this weekend. I'm looking forward to that. So, questions, comments, fire away. The ACC adds Cal, Stanford, SMU. Obviously relevant because that means the Pac-12 is dead. There was a thought of maybe a Pac-12 merger with the Mountain West, keeping the Pac-12 moniker. That obviously isn't going to happen now. So the Pac-12 will die. The ACC will survive as a result. The deals that Cal, Stanford, and SMU cut. Stanford, the report was they weren't going to take a revenue share for 7 years. 7 years, incredible. Cal and Stanford were going to take a 30% share, which you do what you got to do. It's that or expire. So, no good options for those teams, but they took the best one they had, I suppose. So, in any event, all right, smash that like button. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. Facebook, please like the page, share the post. Florida loses to Utah. Florida is terrible. I can probably go ahead and take my Sharpie. How about a Sharpie highlighter? And scribble a double on the LSU schedule poster. Then again, I hesitate to say that because LSU was bad in their opener last year, and LSU lost to previously 4-7 Texas A&M last year. So it's still the SEC. It's still hard to win, all that sort of stuff. But still, Florida looked terrible. If you weren't watching that game, Florida had a point where they get off the field so it's 3rd and 3. They get the stop. Florida gets the stop. 3rd and 3. They get the stop. Utah punts. On the punt, Florida had 2 players on the field wearing number 3. That is illegal participation. You cannot have 2 players wearing the same jersey number on the field at the same time. So there was a 5-yard penalty, and Utah got a first down as a result, and then went and scored a touchdown. Billy Napier, what is you doing? Okay, let's say some good morning, see what y'all got. Fire away here. We got about 15 minutes to jam. Let's see, Ryan, Amanda Guidry, Stephen Sloan. Hey, Dad, good morning. Brant Roban, Kelly Gross, Chuck Bro, good morning. Ryan, I won't sleep tonight and tomorrow night. Can't wait till Sunday. You better get some sleep. You don't want Sunday night to come and then you're like, because you haven't slept. It's interesting. I did an interview yesterday on the Nolecast. So that's, if you're familiar, Bud Elliott. We've talked about Bud in the past, and he's been on the show. So Bud is the one that created the blue chip ratio, which we've referenced. And he's really good media guy. Good sports handicapper, does sports betting content, all that sort of stuff. Blue chip ratio, like we talked about, does the Nolecast, which has won a lot of awards and stuff. So he does a really good job. So I was on the Nolecast yesterday. It was so interesting because I really feel like Bud and I could have switched roles. I could have been the Florida State guy. He could have been the LSU guy, and we would have had the same conversation. If we just redacted names, we could have had the same conversation. It was so interesting. And it's weird because last year, I think there was so much. I think there was a lot of nervous energy this year for LSU and probably for Florida State as well, because last year LSU really felt like that was going to be a cakewalk. And what we failed to acknowledge were the LSU shortcomings after back-to-back 500 seasons and, turning over 40 roster spots or whatever it was, 30 roster spots from year to year, and a lot of the growing pains that needed to happen. And LSU played terribly in that football game and lost. So I think LSU's a better team, is why they're favored. I think LSU has more talent than Florida State. Florida State's got a lot of veteran players. They brought in some really good transfers. I mean, Fentrell Cypress, the cornerback, is a guy everybody wanted. Braden Fisk, the defensive lineman. LSU desperately wanted Braden Fisk. He picked Florida State. I mean, you don't have Mason Smith. I mean, there's some real concerns there for LSU, some things that lean Florida State. The other side of it is they don't have Errol Perkins. I think LSU is just more talented. Like, they've got a lot of offensive linemen that have played a lot of football, but none of them are Will Campbell or Emory Jones. Anyway, so it is interesting. Let's see. Tony Williams, Brian Arsenault, good morning. Time has come. It's kind of like being pregnant and the due week finally comes. Brian, I think every woman, mother watching right now takes high offense to that. Josh DeVilliers, Matt, I'm glad the LSU fans that wanted Napier missed. I'll tell you this, Josh. I think Billy Napier's a really good coach, and I think he is going to recruit really well. And what you've seen is he had a good recruiting class last year, and the one he's putting together this year is really good as well. I think he just inherited a way worse situation than most people knew or thought, and that is going to take time. And the interesting thing, though, to contradict myself, though, is sorry, I can't see some of the comments on YouTube here, so I was just looking at them on my phone. Like Taylor Castagnier was first. The interesting thing, though, is that Brian Kelly had a great portal strategy year one to quickly make his team competitive year one. More competitive than many of us thought. And I think you're seeing other programs maybe struggle with that portal approach. And Brian Kelly's approach was really good. His approach was, we're going to go get Louisiana guys. Louisiana guys that have played a ton of football and want to come back and put on for their state. And it was a really smart thing. And it worked. And now they've built 2 years of signing classes behind them and portal, and LSU's continuing to. So it's interesting that more coaches haven't been able to do that successfully. Wait, let me see. Let me get that first one from Taylor Castagnier on YouTube. My apologies. Taylor said, morning, Matt. Do you know any tailgate spots? Hey, so here's my not offhand, Taylor, but here's my recommendation to you. Go look up the LSU Alumni Association. The Traveling Tigers trip. They always do a big tailgate party the day of the game. It's basically just a giant LSU party, and you can generally buy tickets to just that party to get in. So that would be my recommendation. There's usually, like, when you get in, it's food and booze and live music, and they have TVs with games on and everything. Like, that would be my suggestion to you. Wendell Norman, Brian Pinton, good morning from Albany, Wyoming. Okay. Looking on the Saints page, I got them favored 12 of the 17 games. I guess that's looking at FPI. So that's their computer metric. That doesn't surprise me. I mean, we've talked about the Saints have a favorable schedule. Preston Francis, live from Drinking Around the World, we hear. Okay, okay. Brown Bear 765, good morning from Abu Dhabi. Okay, look at us going international today. Got to go Tigers in the mall. Yes, interesting. All right. Damon Hinderberger, Cody Kivido, fortunate for the ACC, they can keep their name. They'll just be the All Coast Conference. Yeah, it's not a bad suggestion to switch to the All Coast Conference. But then again, if you remember, talked about this last week on AFR, the old NFC West had the Saints, the Bucks, and the Falcons in the NFC West. So anyway, all right, Derek's watching from Epcot. We got some Tiger fans there in Orlando already. Jeff G, those games last night were bad. Not sure if it was rust or bad quality. Well, Minnesota against Nebraska was quintessential Big Ten West football. That is just a crappy division. Those were bad football teams. That was a poorly played game. Nebraska's only, if you didn't watch the game, Nebraska's only touchdown came on a trick play. And it was a trick play that busted. So it was a handoff, throwback, and then a double pass. Well, on the throwback, it was mishandled and fumbled, and then the guy scooped it, and all the defenders, when they saw the ball at the ground, ran toward the ball, and so they left the receiver open, and the guy just chucked one up into the end zone. The guy was wide open. That's the only play Nebraska scored on the game. I think Nebraska had 4 turnovers. It was terrible. I mean, it was a terribly played game. Matt Plavidal, good morning. Can I do audio only for AFR, or is it on-demand video? No, Matt, absolutely. So listen, if you download the 1045 ESPN app, there's an on-demand section for each show, or if you want to listen to iTunes or Spreaker, whatever your favorite podcast app is, just search After Further Review. The show is podcast every day, hour 1, 2, 3. So you can listen to hours 1, 2, 3 as their standalone podcast each day for AFR. Yeah, thank you for asking. Jesse Brown, good morning. I know it's only one game. Do you think Billy Neighbors in trouble at Florida? No, not in year 2. Brad David, good morning. That was interesting. 2 days ago, you said 2011 team was a year early. Makes it frustrating to think how Miles squandered 2012. Well, if you think about it, Brad, I wouldn't even say less squandered 2012. It was we all talk about, so I've talked about this for 10 years now, unfortunately. So my talking points and my feelings on this are very well established. As much as January 9th of 2012 sucked, losing the rematch in the national championship game, the real backbreaker was the TJ Yeldon screen. Because if LSU tackles TJ Yeldon, LSU goes to the SEC championship game and beats Georgia, and LSU goes to the national championship game and beats the hell out of Notre Dame. And then 2012 becomes a redemption story from 2011 instead of disappointment piled on top of 2011, and then you spent the next 7 years chasing that ghost. So yes, the national championship loss to Alabama was the worst day in the history of the program. However, the often overlooked, more significant moment was the Yeldon screen because of what I just said. You tackle TJ Yeldon and you win the national championship that year. And it's, man, if Bama didn't get lucky and get a redo, we're back-to-back champions. And at that point, Les had beaten Bama in 7, 10, 11, and would have been 12. That would have been 4 out of 6. Les would have beaten Nick at that point. So anyway, it's revisionist history, I get it, but the Yeldon screen is the one that was the play that not enough people talk about. We all remember because it was terrible, but the macro significance of the Yeldon screen. Jesse Brown, Devin Johnson, Hunter Broadhead. Whoever said Florida money line was a lock is an idiot. Who said Florida money line was a lock? By the way, hat tip to Jimmy Ott. If y'all were not listening to Otter Locks last night at the end of AFR, Jimmy gave us UCF laying 35.5 rocking chair cover. They won 56-6. He gave us Utah laying the 5.5 cover, and he gave us his best play of the night was the under in the Minnesota-Nebraska game, rocking chair cover. 3-0 night for the Otter. How about it? Trivia Carter, Barry Jocelyn, what's going on? Florida Gators are terrible. Bubba Tatum, Guy Brooks, good morning. Baby Bobby, good morning. Scone, do you think LSU will be able to overcome mistakes made Sunday so they don't spiral into more mistakes? Florida seemed to never get it figured out after making a couple. They just spiraled. Yeah, Baby Bobby, the difference is Florida's not good. I mean, they had an entirely new starting five on the offensive line. They do not have dynamic playmakers. Graham Mertz is an average Power 5 quarterback. I thought defensively Florida played an okay game. Offensively, that was miserable. Trivia, couldn't watch Florida take the L. ESPN was removed from Spectrum right before the game. That ain't Disney, bro. That's Spectrum. Greg T, good morning. Barry Jocelyn. Well, actually, it's both their faults. Happy to be a rabid Tiger fan over here in Gatorland. Bailey C, Florida sucks. Andy Whitaker, did you see USC played an ineligible player in week 0? Pac-12 said it'll just sit next week. Why can't we do the same with Mason? I did not see the story, so I don't know the circumstances around that, Andy. And I wonder if it's a difference if you knowingly play an ineligible player or that player is retroactively deemed ineligible. But I don't know the story, so it would be hard for me to comment definitively. All right, y'all. Smash that like button. As always, shout out to Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, and HUDCO Roofing. You need an orthopedist? Go to Brock. You need a roof? Give us a shout. HUDCOroofing.com. HUDCOroofing.com. See if I can get a few more over here on Facebook. Josh DeVilliers, Bubba Smith, Kelly Presley, Steve Scott, good morning. Oh, man. I got to go quickly here. Morning, Matt. Thoughts on how Dion will do in his first game at Colorado? I mean, they're a 17-point underdog, or they're a 20.5-point underdog against TCU. Listen, I'm not telling you I think Colorado is going to be awesome, but their win total is 3.5. I'm taking over 3.5. I think Dion's a good coach. He has brought better talent to Colorado than they had there last year. I think when you have such a new roster, there are bound to be growing pains. I'm not telling you they're even getting to a bowl at 6, but can I get Colorado to 4 wins this year? Yeah. Courtney Storer, Steve Caballero, Carson Stevenson. Do you think Florida pulls the plug on Napier? No, not this year anyway. Do you think Tulane will move to the Big 12 or the ACC? Absolutely not, Tony. It's one good football season doesn't mean you have enough of a brand to justify a move like that. SMU was only able to do it because they were willing to not take a payout for 7 years. Let's see. Jeremy Sagely, Jacob Willis, Sean Childress, good morning, y'all. John Wagner, Bob Poole. Trying to see if I can get a question. Brand Roban, dang, did Kiffin call the Yeldon play? If I remember correctly, Danielson said they pulled some old school play. Kiffin wasn't at Bama in 2012. I think Kiffin's first year at Bama was 2015. Let's see. Kiffin's first year at Bama was 14. He hadn't been fired at USC yet. All right, y'all. Let's see, got 2 minutes. Tara Walker asking about Dominic McKinley. He's committing today. I don't know where he's going. I know that, there aren't a lot of people that feel super confident about it, but maybe LSU got in the mix late. I'm the wrong guy to ask about recruiting. Strong side, good morning. Leon Williams, Colorado wins 6 games. Let's see, Florida's not good. Utah is consistent. Let's see any more. Tiger Diver, Irfan Sayad, good morning. Greg T parlayed the Otter Locks at plus 550. What a start. Congrats, man. That's great. Right. Jason Mobile, good morning. What's on the feed? SB Dunks with my gum sole, black and white. Or not Dunks, just SBs. I guess they're the Dunks, yeah, SB Dunks. All right, let's see. Good morning. Nino season. All right. I got to get going, y'all. It's 8 o'clock. Any more Tim Forche? All right, man. Y'all enjoy the game there for those heading to Orlando. I got to bounce. Thanks so much for watching, y'all. LSU Daily is already live. If you want to check it out on your favorite podcast app, just search LSU Daily. If you're there on YouTube, do me a solid. Smash that like button and subscribe up to the channel. Facebook, please like the Matt Moscona page. Share the post. Look at Trey Fisher. Good morning from the St. Jude carpool. You're doing the Lord's work, Trey Fisher. You're doing the Lord's work. All right. Y'all have a great day. We'll see you. Peace.